All right, welcome back, folks. And that's just some of what we saw going down there today on Sheriff Street, folks. Two sand trucks, they say, collided on Sheriff Street. And we do have an update on that, folks, as we get further down into our broadcast this evening. Thanks for joining us, all of you out there, and Michelle and Eva, Thomasina, Donna, Liverpool, and all you beautiful folks joining us this evening. We do have an update on that, folks, as we get further down into our broadcast this evening. So bear with us on that front. I see some folks are singing song. Y'all can't hear us tonight. We want to be heard. Some folks are singing song. Y'all not hearing us? We're seeing you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Good to have all of you on the live tonight. As we said, we're going to circle back to that later on, folks. We got some international news for you. As you know, that G20 meeting has been happening in Brazil. And on the heels of that, folks, on the heels of that meeting happening, we're hearing that the Brazilian authorities, they have uncovered a plot to kill Mr. Lula Inácio da Silva. This was before he was sworn in as Prime Minister of Brazil. And they're telling us a member of parliament linked to Jair Bolsonaro was arrested along with 4 other persons. So, folks, these are some of the things that we're looking at. This is next door. This is next door. As a matter of fact, this is where Mr. Modi is coming from. He's coming from that G20 meeting in Brazil. And this is what we're following, these allegations that there was a plot afoot to assassinate the now president of Brazil, Lula da Silva. Yep. You'll remember when there was 1-2 against the life of then President Granger. We told a lot of folks in the Guyana police force took that quite lightly. A lot of folks in the police force took it lightly. Yep. So we're watching this, folks. This is across the board on the other side. We're watching these developments coming out of Brazil. And as we said, we know that the Prime Minister of India is coming out of that meeting too. And he came from Nigeria, I think, before heading to the G8 meeting in Brazil. And he should be at the top of the hour on Guyanese soil. He could be with us at the top of the hour, folks. So we're looking forward to that. Welcoming the Indian Prime Minister, and you guys should know by now, I said it so often, and he's going to be speaking to the National Assembly on the 21st. There's some engagements he's going to be attending to. In between that time, I know, for instance, that there's going to be a presser tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock with Irfan Ali. Both men are expected to issue statements. So by 9 this evening, they tell us, we had a peek at the calendar, they're telling us around 9 tonight, Mr. Modi should be underground. And of course, a number of things up for discussion during this historic visit. You know, I saw a colleague of mine sent me a photograph of Indira Gandhi and Forrest Burnham. Back in the day, folks, I think Mr. Modi was here also in the early 90s. A lot of Caribbean leaders are coming too. I think Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Pete Rowley, land early on this afternoon because there's going to be a high-level India CARICOM meeting happening as well during these 3 days, night and 2 days. And so Caribbean leaders are coming. This is the second. Mr. Modi is going to be co-chairing the second India CARICOM summit with Grenada's Prime Minister, Dickon Mitchell. So we're watching that, folks. And as I said, he's going to be addressing the National Assembly on Thursday. The 21st, whichever day is the 21st, he's going to be addressing the National Assembly, and that is the final day as he wraps up his visit. And we wish Mr. Modi the best. Try some of the pepper pot and the curry chicken curry, and roti. However you want to have it. However you want to have it, folks. And we're going to bring you more on this as we know more. We are going to bring you more, and you'll have a good chance to see how a world leader operates in every sense of the word. Because we see these folks we got here, we think that's it. Isn't it? It's far from it. Far from it. Praise God. So we're following this, folks. we we are following this, and as we come to more things domestic, a number of streets take caution here now, because a number of CARICOM leaders, as I said, are coming. The Prime Minister of India is going to be here in very short order. A number of streets are going to be closed because the amount of activities that are taking place. Over the next 3 days, folks, be careful if you are in the vicinity of the Marriott and the Pegasus Hotel, State House, all of those areas, you might have a long wait time in traffic if you're not routed someplace else. So why not perhaps avoid it altogether? The Outachung Conference Center, of course, on the 21st. The Promenade Gardens, is going to be some activities there. The Indian Arrival Gardens opposite St. Rose's, and also the National Cultural Center. I think that the CARICOM meeting is going to be staged there. So apologies in advance, maybe. Apologies in advance, because the traffic situation here is getting worse and worse all the time. They're telling us that closures of various roads will restrict access, folks, at specified time. And as we gather information, we're going to give that to you folks. Motorists are advised to use caution, adhere to directions, and carry staff identification, IDs, staff identification when you accessing restricted areas near these workplaces, and so on. So let's make the best of it, folks. Let's make the best of it, as the Indian Prime Minister and our Caribbean brothers and sisters, heads of state, visit with us over the next few days. And that, as we come into the 592, folks, some of what we're following. So the closures are going to be temporary of these roads, and it aims to ensure smooth movement during this official visit. Yeah. In even more grave news than the traffic jams that we were expecting, folks, nothing is sacred anymore in this country. Nothing. They're scamming the pension books. Told you folks about this before. Scamming them fraudulently, tampering with the pension. Could you imagine going to receive your pension, and then you turn up and somebody says, Bantu King, Bantu, you pick up your pension last week. We got nothing here for you. Yeah, man, look, sorry. Yeah. So the minister says, the minister responsible, pension is going to be late. I see the Honorable Nima Flubess on the live with us this evening. Member of Parliament. Good evening, Nima. Good to see you on the live. So they're telling us that pensions are going to be delayed again because of an ongoing investigation, right, following this discovery of unauthorized and counterfeit books. So the Guyana Police Force is looking into this matter, and new books with enhanced security features are being printed and will be distributed starting December. That's how long our folks had to wait. They didn't give a date in December, but they say December. But folks, we've been hearing all kinds of stuff. Those of you watching who receive your pensions, we've heard that in certain communities they get their own earlier. They don't have to go and no post office and so on. People come to them. And then in other places, you gotta wait. So we're watching it, folks. They said the new books will have security features, enhanced security features. It's going to be available in December. So we're watching that. We are watching that, folks. That's what they're telling us. We have over 70,000 pensioners now in the system. We're going to be feasing the squeeze. The ministry says that they regret the inconvenience, but stresses that these are measures necessary to enhance the integrity and accountability in the system. Yeah. Pim, friends, family, and favorites. Our thoughts with all of you who are going to be in anguish. So, Lord, the money doesn't leave. Then they got to stretch out now when to receive that money. The money already a little bit. Right? They got to stretch you. That's how things happen here. Sad to say. Right? That's how things happen in these parts. Them boys can stretch we. Right? They're gonna stretch us, stretch us. All right, folks. So that's one of the things we're looking at. The pension books, the pension fraud. Everything in this country is a hustle. Everything in this country is a somebody trying to pull wool over your eyes. Jesus. Horrific and horrible. That's all I say. Look what else we're following, folks. We did say we're going to circle back to this. The carnage on our roads and our waterways, and we did begin our program this evening, folks, showing you wonderful folks some of what we saw over the last few hours, the last 8 hours, and so much of it. Apologies there. So much of it has filtered onto social media. And we can tell you now, some of you may already know this, that the gentleman who lost his life while on his exercise routine this morning, in this horrific accident on Sheriff Street, when two sand trucks collided with each other, we're told one did not yield as it came up to Sheriff Street from Dennis Street. These trucks collided. The electrical contractor that lost his life is one Carlton Smith. Lost his life just going about his business. And then you got folks operating recklessly, ended his life. And this afternoon we heard the Ministry of Public Works express its profound sorrow following this fatal accident on Sheriff Street, claiming the life, as we said, of Carlton Smith. And you had some other folks with some cuts and scrapes. We gotta slow down on this road, on these roads. Slow down. Arrive alive. The ministry says that this underscores the need for compliance with traffic laws. You got how much laws on the book, that's the other side of it. If people don't want to obey, people don't want to adhere, it make any sense? They say preliminaries investigations have revealed violations, including excessive speeding, failure to obey traffic signals, overloading, and improper lane usage. And you know what is sad? This is every day in this country. Every day in this country, we see this. The ministry has called for heightened driver responsibilities and stricter enforcement of our traffic laws. We got so much work to do together. And while the ministry is putting that out, folks, there's some scenes, if you're now joining us, of Sheriff Street. It's chaos today. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce has joined the call for stricter regulations where road usage is concerned. Stricter regulations on that front. Stricter regulations. And we did tell you that the Ministry of Public Works expressing condolence with the family of Mr. Smart, just going about his business. He's going about his business. And we're in National Road Safety Month. That few hear about it, few participating. We got a lot of work to do. So you have the Ministry of Public Works, we did tell you, putting out this statement, asking for drivers to be more responsible, observe all the road safety rules and regulations and laws, observe all of them. And in addition to the GCCI calling for a better transportation system, better road usage, you know what we saw them calling for too? Stricter regulations at the supermarkets, or rather stricter supermarket regulations. And you guys know what's been happening there. A lot of our brothers and sisters in the business sector, they've been complaining of unfair advantage, unfair business practices with some other supermarkets. Here is the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce urging citizens to report expired goods and regulatory breaches in supermarkets. Those of you who, you all do the shopping, you all know them all the time. You went to buy goods and instead of giving you back your change, people give you some product. Take 5 minutes. You never ask a mint. You might go in an establishment and you see a sign mark, goods not returnable. All of that is illegal. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, GCCI, they're calling for stricter supermarket regulations and urging citizens again, report expired goods and things that you deem to be breaches. They're highlighting also issues such as non-English labeling, expired goods, poor storage practices. And this is according to Kester Hudson, the current president of the GCCI. Report. He also emphasized the need for stricter monitoring by agencies like the Food Analyst and Drug Department and the Guyana Bureau of Standards. We got to pick up the pace a little bit. We got to pick up the pace, folks, a little bit on these issues and protect us, protect our citizenry. So a couple of things that we're following at that end, folks. And I don't like to hear about airlines. We ain't got a good track record in this country with airlines at all. We don't have a good track record at all. That's what I want you to know. Now they're telling us Aerosucre has launched a cargo operation in Guyana. There's a Colombian cargo airline. Colombia is so beautiful. And now they're telling us they're going to be having direct flights. They'll begin scheduled cargo flights. They will begin scheduled cargo flights between Guyana, Colombia, Brazil, and Mexico early 2025. Put it in the calendar. Right? So this is aimed at all part of strengthening regional trade. They're using a 737 freighter, and the service will operate from Chedijagan International Airport to Bogota, Bogota's El Dorado International Airport. So, folks, make a check of that. Make a check of that while you're making plans, folks, for 2025. You're making plans for the cash grant. Here's the leader of the opposition telling us cash grants ain't going to cure poverty. And he's right. It's not going to cure poverty. Listen.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton told a public meeting at Mahaicony that the government should focus on developing people. He said that the coalition administration had been doing just that right up to the end of its tenure.
During 5 years in office, we trained many young people. Some of them sell me honey until today. Because what we did with them, we took them, we trained them on how to make the honey, we give them the equipment, we give them a grant, and today many of them are self-sustainable.
He said that the present government isn't keen on making people self-sufficient. He identified Vice President Bara Jagdo as one of the people who benefited from this exercise by the PNC government.
They want people who they can dominate and control. And so they cannot educate people. They cannot give them the tools to earn on their own because it will break the control they want to exercise.
He said that people shouldn't be carried away by the things that the government is saying.
With the kind of resources we have at our disposal, we can do it. Say to every Guyanese that handout cannot take you out of poverty.
No.
Handouts will not impact the cost of living. I know how they make it. And you know how I know that all they're doing with this cash grant is to try to increase the amount of people that they get access to their weekend support for them. Why would you announce that you're giving a cash grant to ease the high cost of living and then declare you're giving it to Guyanese from overseas who are here?
This was a direct reference to the payment of the cash grant to every Guyanese citizen. He said the overseas-based Guyanese aren't facing the same problems being faced by resident Guyanese.
Problem with distribution to Guyanese, but I have a problem if you've seen a clear plot to rig the next election using cash transfers. And so we have got to be very, very vigilant because the sole aim is to have a padded voters list so that they can win. They are well aware that in their own support base, people are dissatisfied with them.
Yep, that was the leader of the opposition, leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Mr. Aubrey C. Norton, over the weekend at Calcutta. Yep, in Region 5. Laying it out, folks, laying it out. And we saw MP Manzo Walton Desir and Rudy Finance quite recently on the point that part of what is entrapping us here and not allowing us to move forward as we should, is the fact that this government has a real policy of poverty. Take a listen. Poverty and policy.
Policy formulation is lacking in Guyana, says Member of Parliament Joretta Finance. She was discussing the issue on a podcast named Countdown.
We have the PP administration that does everything in a dictatorial manner. So you see policies coming out that you never heard about before. The people in the community have never heard about anything like that before. So when it comes to policy formulation in the most effective way, I would say that you definitely have to voice your opinion. There's the use of social media.
There is need for the people to engage with the politicians. The politicians are the people to formulate policy. At present, there is the absence of a policy for the cash grant distribution. The people are now hearing that initially the cash grant would be distributed to public servants and pensioners.
The PPP has been gifted with the ability to come to the public and to try their best to convince you that they have allocated. And let me just give an example. Right now, prior, we've had this on the first cash grant.
Ms. Finance recalled cash grants in the form of flood relief. The Prime Minister went to the National Assembly for some $10 billion to secure hampers for the affected families. Ms. Finance said that he was asked about the policy surrounding the distribution.
How are you distributing? How many hampers per family and all of that? How many hampers per household? Because that's one of the things that they like to see per household. You know, they go with some outrageous numbers, and you will see that they actually budget. The PVP actually budget at a count of 1 million people in the country.
The Prime Minister never returned to the House to say that the money was left over, she said. She said that such inflation has led to the government hiding the census data.
When it comes to this $100,000 cash grant, Andrew, I can tell you, no joke, some people spend this money before the distribution mechanism even complete. People just hear the cash grant money coming and the $100,000 done spend. It borrow, it budget, it done spend out.
She said that this is because people are desperately in need of money.
People out there are suffering, they're starving, persons have bills backed up, and people are so glad to have these money. So if you were to see if this money was being distributed at the banks tomorrow or at Western Union or whatever, you would see lines.
Yep. MP, what is the yes, there? They got no policy. What is a policy? They want to study, because friends and family ain't gonna get it instantaneously in 5 months. 200,000, 100,000. By now it's about 15,000. Anybody get a cash grant yet? Folks, this was announced the 10th day of October. If finally went to the National Assembly as he did and say instantaneously 200,000 per household. And now it has gone through so many iterations over and over and over and over again. You can't run a country like this. And this has been the most substantive cash granted date. And like they learned nothing from the others they've handed out. And you know how much they abhor systems, abhor that, drag a suitcase around and share money. That's their thing. Drag a suitcase around, share money. Don't associate them with deep thinking. Remember when Mr. Jaglu was posed this question of the Chinese invasion, as it were, in the years of supermarkets in this country? He said, we can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. Well, not everybody believes that. The GCI don't believe that. You heard the GCI earlier on talking about reporting people who breaching regulations, breaching standards in this country. You can't do what? Take a look at this story. The invasion.
There is some disquiet over what is seen as a Chinese invasion of the local business sector. In some communities, people are protesting. Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, during an earlier press conference, had said that the people themselves were responsible for the Chinese expansion. Member of Parliament Amanzo Walton Desir said recently that Guyana and China have had a long-standing relationship at the diplomatic level.
As it relates to the issue of Chinese businesses, because I noted that there was a protest in Agricola, etc. We are party to certain trade agreements, yes, and these impose on us various obligations. I have always maintained, however, that is no excuse for the government to pretend as if it can't do anything.
She said that the government has a duty to the people of Guyana.
They could look at strengthening local regulations, for example, where you can indicate that within a certain amount of, within a certain square mileage, zoning regulations, for example. They can look at enforcing local content more to ensure that those businesses that come in create employment for Guyanese, that they purchase raw materials from Guyana.
She said that the government could also invest more in the capacity of local businesses. This would help the local businesses to become competitive. The situation is indeed a balancing act, Ms. Walton Desir said.
This is precisely why our parliamentary sectoral committees are important, because the Constitution vests vests these committees with very wide ranging powers to go into a sector, to investigate, and to come up with recommendations.
The first step is for the parliamentarians to sit in the sectoral committee to identify problems and to formulate solutions.
You know what is my abiding frustration with the PPPC administration? They do not believe that they must preserve the advantage for Guyanese. I am unapologetic. I think we in the opposition have been unapologetic about preserving the advantage for Guyanese. It must mean something to me to be a Guyanese in Guyana. When other people come into my country and have far more rights, etc., than me, it is a frustrating thing.
Yep, yep. I will not forget. I will not forget when me and Martin was operating in our prophetic gifting. Mia said, "You're gonna be tenants in your own country." That's what she said. You're gonna be tenants in your own land. My God. My God. You see what's happening? Over to Frank Anthony. Over to Frank Anthony. Over to Frank Anthony. Over to Frank Anthony. Folks, forgive us if we didn't say to all our men folks, all our guys tonight, happy International Men's Day, Men's Night. Not too late. We still got some hours on the clock. You know, there's a difference when they got International Women's Day and International Men's Day. Our day passes so quietly. You could forget it altogether. You didn't even know it was there. But they're advising us, folks, the Minister of Health, Ministry of Health, advising us on this international. Did anybody wish you guys happy International Men's Day? Come on, ladies, come on now. It's not too late. It's not too late. The Minister of Health is advising, and rightly so. Fellas, listen up now. The women who love them, listen up too. The women who love us, listen up. Address chronic diseases. That's what the ministry and minister is highlighting. Right? Its efforts to address chronic diseases. Us big people gotta stick together, you know. Prostate cancer. Now is the time, early detection, hypertension, diabetes. These are all leading causes of death among men. Right? You got some real cantankerous people in this thing, you know. Naomi? Yes. Sparly, thanks for the thing. Thanks for the thing. We gotta stick together, big people. So key initiatives include prostate cancer screening, right? Hearts protocol for blood pressure management. I try an old age. I ain't like it. I can tell you that. I don't like it. And expanded diabetes care. Us big people, we gotta stick together. Ministry says that men are encouraged to embrace early screening. Who with me? Who with me? Early screening and regular health checkups to overcome stigma and prioritize their well-being. Today celebrates men's contribution to families and communities while promoting healthier lifestyles. Joy Dodson, thank you. Like I had to think this one out, boy. I had to force this one out. Ladies, thank you. Right? And happy International Men's Day, Men's Night to all the men watching us. You always want big pomp and ceremony and you all day. I know some women on here didn't even know it's International Men's Day today. Yeah? You all wicked too. Some of you didn't know neither. So some of us didn't know either. Thank you for reminding us. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. You know, he's a little bit like Claudette Singh. Now you see him, now you don't. You know we've seen too much of? Calvin Brutus. Calvin Brutus. Like I'm fed up now. Right? Clyde McPherson, Everywhere you turn, like road accidents. Everywhere you turn is a Brutus. But Brutus suing them now for 400 million. He said it's 60 million bail. I'm making pay here. Look, sorry now. Suing a whole set of them for $400 million for malfeasance in public office. 400 million. Tremaine, Patty, thanks for your contribution on our YouTube channel. Folks, when we're live, you purchase a sticker or something like that from YouTube, and part of that contribution comes towards our broadcast. Thank you so much. Tremaine Patty. Malfeasance in public office, Brutus says. And this suit is against senior members of the Guyana Police Force and the Special Organized Crime Unit. How many of y'all fed up with them? Fed up. He's alleging malfeasance in public office. He's seeking listen to this. He is seeking an independent criminal investigation into his claims, and he calls for a presidential commission of inquiry led by international experts to ensure impartiality. This is what we want. Turn on the searchlight on the GPF. Brutus apparently expressed his willingness. Listen to this. Brutus said he is willing to undergo polygraph tests by the FBI or Scotland Yard. He stands by his integrity. Folks, let me calibrate these machines before we do this test, right? Calibrate the machines before we do this. He's willing to undergo polygraph tests by the FBI in Scotland Yard. And he is inviting the defendants to do the same. Come on now, Hickens. Clifton Hickens, come on now. Faisal Karambash, come on now. Who with us? We all in one head now. This FBI Scotland Yard, rock and come in. He says he aims to involve international law enforcement to validate his allegations, and he insists that a local police-led inquiry is insufficient. I've just been saying this the other day. A local police-led inquiry is insufficient. And he's advocating for professional external oversight. The man Brutus, the 800 million assistant commissioner of police, he didn't say you pay for these. He didn't say you pay for these fellas. He didn't say that. Did not say that. Folks, there's a lot happening. Eh? There's a lot happening out there. I fed up. I kid you not. I fed up. Fed up. One thing to the next. With the Guyana Police Force. No rest. In the bones. I want FBI, you want Scotland Yard. Polygraph test. Presidential inquiry. Come on here, fun. If y'all are frightened, nothing come out. Or y'all got nothing to come out. Come, Mr. Jack Dio. Right? You say you didn't frighten him. He could say what he said, do you undo. Come, Mr. Vice President. Rock out coming with the COI. Monkeys no slim for jump on though. Yeah, look quick for COI for elections. This is a senior policeman. Hear the damning allegations against the Guyana Police Force. While we're on that, folks, we heard the Working People's Alliance, the WPA, address the Quindon Bacchus matter. Now the young man, father of one, that is shot to death in Golden Grove. He lives in Golden Grove, sorry. What's the area he was shot in? Quinton Bacchus, recently, after all the lies and deceit, this is a lying government, all the lies and deceit. He was going to sell gun, and people said the gun didn't even work it. Quinton Bacchus was shot 5 times in his back, once in his chest. So he opened fire with a gun that didn't work it. 5 times in his back, once in his chest. And quietly, the report says, the AG office went and settled the case. They accept liability, the state accepted liability and settled the matter for $24 million. Young man life gone down the drain. Thoughts and prayers with the family. His young son now fatherless. And we see instance after instance of this in the Guyana police force. Here is WPA on the Quinton Bacchus matter. Take a look, folks.
Compensation for Quinton Bacchus's family. WPA welcomes the court's judgment of monetary compensation to Quinton Bacchus's family for his murder by an agent of the state. While no amount of money could compensate for the loss of life, we see this judgment as a symbolic victory for the rule of law and the right to life. We hope this ruling emboldens families who have lost members through unjust police action to similarly move to the courts to seek justice. We also hope that the government and the state view this ruling as a signal that extrajudicial killings should be addressed with an eye on its abolition. For too long, Guyana has had to carry this burden. It is a sore on our national psyche that must be eradicated. The PPP government, which have presided over the most extrajudicial killings, especially those of African Guyanese male, should view the ruling as a wake-up call to turn from its bloody ways.
From there, turn from the bloody ways. And there is where we're going to leave it tonight. You all hear Dr. David Hine? He said it seemed like a scorn. A sore on the soul of the nation. A sore on the soul of the nation. That's what he says. There's where we leave it. Thanks for joining us. Multitude of you. Thank you guys so much. I see Candy Neline Inderjeet is there, and I see Claudette Fields. Claudette Fields, a good Claudette. A good Claudette. Claudette Fields. Spurley, thanks for the thing. Spurley says she even remember today was International Men's Day. Well, you got some work to do now. We got a couple hours left. Frank Rex, Carlin Halley, and Everett Small, Clangren Serdema, and I see we got Rastaman SB. Good to see you there, and Rosetta Barton, Mark Detcherin, and Joan Thomas Hilkin, Lorraine Beath. Good to have all of you wonderful folks on the live tonight. You find any value in our program, folks, share the live for us. You found any value in the broadcast, smash that emoji button for us. Gloria Platt and Beryl and Irwin and Carlton and Marilyn, all you wonderful folks. We're going to see you guys right back here on the next one. That's our time. Good folks, Carmen and Sonia Masick. Says she outside the gate. 5:30. Outside the gate. That's our time, folks. That's our program. Stay safe and have a fantastic rest of the evening. That's our time, folks. Stay safe.